your proofs practice paper out from yesterday. We talked about number 1 yesterday. Today we're going to go on to number 2. You probably want to have your notes out from yesterday, or you can just refer to the board because all that stuff is up there on the board too. If A, B, and C are consecutive odd integers, then their sum is divisible by 3. So before we even begin to attempt this proof, I just want to say this. If you have a number that is divisible by 3, give me a number that's divisible by 3.
9.
9.
4.
9 is divisible by 3. Sorry, guys. 9 is divisible by 3. So 9 can be written as 3 times 3. Would you agree? What about 12? How can you write 12 as 3 times something?
4.
3 times 4. What about 21?
7.
You can go 3 times 7. So anything that is divisible by 3 can be written as 3 times something. So I just want you to remember that when you are writing this proof, in the end, because you are trying to show that it is divisible by 3, you are trying to work toward your stuff, your A's and your B's, to end up being 3 times some quantity. Okay, that is the goal, is to make it look like that. Are you okay with that? So, if A, B, and C are consecutive odd integers, then their sum is divisible by 3. If you recall from yesterday and from above in problem number 1, your first job is to rewrite your hypothesis. So, and remember I said don't write big. If A, B, and C are consecutive odd integers, look back at proof 1. What did you have to do? After you rewrote your hypothesis, what did you have to do? You had to describe what A, B, and C are. A, B, and C are consecutive odd. So then we had to say, okay, well then A equals, what is A going to be? What is A? Odd integers, consecutive odd integers. Consecutive odd integers, right here it says 2m plus 1. So A is going to be 2m plus 1. What is B going to be then if A is 2m plus 1? Has to be 2m plus 3 because they are consecutive. If they weren't consecutive, then you would have to change your variable. So B is going to be 2m plus 3, and C is going to be the next odd integer or number, which is 2m plus 5. This is the part that I know you guys don't like to do, but your job now is to rewrite your conclusion. In other words, in this case, your Q. Rewrite your Q. So if A equals 2m plus 1, B equals 2m plus 3, C equals 2m plus 5, then what are we trying to do? We're trying to show what about A, B, and C? That their what is divisible by 3?
Their sum.
Their sum. So if we're trying to show their sum is divisible by 3, then we need to sum A, B, and C. What does that mean, to sum them? Add them together. So now what we need to do is say, well, A plus B plus C is equal to, what is A? 2m plus 1. Plus B, which is 2m plus 3, plus C, which is 2m plus 5. Now we're going to go on to say, well, if A plus B plus C equals 2m plus 1 plus 2m plus 3 plus 2m previous statement. Now what we need to do, just as we did in problem number 1, we actually have to add them together. So we have to add together 2m plus 1, 2m plus 3, and 2m plus 5. Collect like terms. What can you add together in this problem?
2m.
You can add together all the 2m's. What's 2m, 2m, and 2m?
6m.
6m. So I'm going to say now then, a plus b plus c is equal to 6m. Add like terms. All of my m's can be added together. What about my numbers? I have a 5, a 3, and a 1. Those add up to give you 9. So we have 6m plus 9. Alright, so now if a plus b plus c is equal to 6m plus 9, then, right, we're trying to show that 6m plus 9 is what? Divisible by 3. Yes, very nice. So I'm going to come down here. We're just listen just for a minute here. 6m plus 9. We need that to be 3 times something.
3 times 5. The overall.
It's not 6 plus 9. 6m plus 9. So I need to divide a 3 out of each one of these. In other words, I am factoring a 3 out, which really means I'm dividing each of these by 3. So if I divide a 6 by 3, I get
2.
2, but I have an m next to it, so it's 2m. And then what's 9 divided by 3?
3.
3. So 6m plus 9 is the same thing as 3 times 2m plus 3. So now I'm going to say, well then a plus b plus c is equal to 3 times 2m plus 3. The goal of this problem was to show that their sum is divisible by 3. Is it divisible by 3?
Yes.
Have we shown that we can write it as 3 times something?
Yes.
Then we're done. We just need to say we're done. So if a plus b plus c is equal to 3 times 2m plus 3, then you always finish it with the conclusion of your original conditional statement. Then their sum is divisible by 3. So let's say you want to be a lawyer someday. This
I
is
don't
what
think
lawyers
we
do. Well, didn't you say that you did this? Well, if you did that, well then that means that you did that, right? And if you did that, that means you did that. Believe it or not, if you're going to study law, you will have to take a lot of math classes. And the reason being is that math is so logical. It teaches you how to think logically through things. This is exactly the kind of stuff that you would have to be good at. Not necessarily about even and odd numbers, but about real life situations. All right?
Why don't they just have a class just for that?
Well, I think that giving you a long